Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining me today at our second annual Gov AI Summit to take stock of the state of the AI world. For those of you who were able to join us last year, welcome back. A lot has changed. Whether you're in Washington, Silicon Valley, or Beijing, the collective understanding of AI and its transformative potential has gone from novelty to necessity. 2023 was already a violent shift. AI went from a fringe topic to the subject of major congressional hearings and summits of world leaders. Given how early we are still, the level of US government engagement has been impressive to me, but so much more is to be done to maintain AI leadership in AI. We are in the mid-game now. In the fight for AI, we started the matchup as the heavy favorite, and now we're only midway through, and we're on the cusp of losing our momentum. Once you lose momentum, then you risk losing the game. But I'm confident we can and will turn it around. As someone who has been building in the AI ecosystem for more than 8 years now, it's exciting to see this technology become mainstream. Long before the current defense tech hype wave, Scale's work with the US military was driven by my intrinsic belief that the US government must have access to advanced AI technology. It is crucial to the future of our world. The history of war is the history of military technology. And now, everyone in this room understands that AI technology has the potential to be one of the greatest military assets that humanity has ever seen. The US government recognizes it, and China does too. And it is our responsibility to deploy AI safely and securely. It is an absolutely critical moment for the United States. While we're understanding and beginning to reap the benefits of AI, so are our adversaries, and alarmingly, at a faster pace. Before I dive into where the US is versus China on AI and what we must do to stay ahead, I want to take a minute, take a step back, and walk through the 3 pillars of AI. At a high level, there's 3 ingredients that go into AI systems. There's algorithms, there's compute, and there's data. Companies like NVIDIA work on advancing and manufacturing the chips. Algorithmic advancements are driven by an active AI research community, which are then applied by top talent to develop models like GPT-4o, Claude 3.5, Llama 3, and others. And Scale does the data. I founded Scale to supply the data that advances AI by fueling its entire development lifecycle. Our role is to be the NVIDIA, if you will, of the data pillar. Advancements in these pillars drive AI progress and ultimately national competitiveness on AI. And where are we today? Unfortunately, China is catching up quickly. And if you plot the path ahead, China actually has a clear shot of being ahead and ultimately winning. 2 years ago, China was probably more than 2 years behind. When GPT-4 was first produced in the lab in fall of 2022, China's capabilities were nowhere near that. Right now, Chinese LLM and computer vision capabilities are pretty close to neck and neck with America's. In the past few months, a Chinese company, 01.ai, produced Yi Large, and that is now one of the best models in the world, just behind the leading US-made models like GPT-4o, Gemini, and Claude 3.5. Chinese chips are rapidly approaching parity with leading US chips. The most up-to-date stat here is that the Huawei Ascend 910B, which is manufactured on SMIC or SMIC fabs, so no involvement with TSMC, is about 80% as good as the NVIDIA A100s, and 2 to 3 times more costly in terms of performance per dollar. While these are not immediately competitive with the NVIDIA H100s or B200s, they're in the ballpark to be meaningfully competitive. We must keep a close eye on Huawei and their SMIC production lines to catch how the US and China compete on this front. Power is where things get really, really concerning. Running large-scale data centers for AI requires a tremendous amount of power, and the US is not on track to meet this growing demand. The largest data centers being built today cost more than $100 billion and will consume more electricity than the city of Los Angeles. Looking at this graph, you can see that the total US electricity generation has grown by barely 5% in the last decade. At the current growth rates, the demand for electricity from AI is quickly outpacing the US production rate. By comparison, in the past decade, China has added an entire US electrical grid amount of power generation to their own grid. They are on track to trounce us on power, even population adjusted. China is simply better positioned to meet the growing need for power. They can very easily add a lot more nuclear power than is politically feasible in the United States, and it's clear they're prioritizing it. Just last week, a report concluded that China likely is 10 to 15 years ahead of the US on nuclear power. At the current rate, they're on track to overtake us as the nation with the largest nuclear generation power capacity by 2030. This is a critical vulnerability that is simply not getting the attention it deserves. Power growth is absolutely essential to feed our continued growth and leadership in AI and beyond. Lastly, China is churning out more high-end STEM talent than anywhere else in the world by far. Fortunately for the US, this talent stream is a one-way road by and large. Talent leaves China, comes to America, and doesn't go back. The US must do everything it can to continue to develop and attract the leading tech talent in the world, otherwise we risk ceding our advantage. And from a data standpoint, it's impossible to even draw a direct comparison because there isn't even an even playing field. The key thing to pay attention to is within China, how they're utilizing the data from the internet and overseas. In the United States, we're going to litigate many of the rights around data and the ability to use data for training these models. It's unlikely those get litigated in China. Accessing all that data is in large part how they got good at computer vision for facial recognition. We just need to track exactly how that debate on data usage plays out here. Also, the CCP has built a concept of data factories where they take citizens of China to produce data for AI models. They did this for their facial recognition efforts and their self-driving car efforts in the last era of AI and used that to overtake the United States. What is clear, though, is if China continues to take data seriously and the US does not, they will win. To maintain our lead and win, the US must achieve AI overmatch. To get there, there are 3 steps. 1, achieve data supremacy. 2, invest to beat China. And 3, arm our warfighters with best-in-class commercial AI technology, like Donovan and our data engine, to give them a competitive advantage. Data supremacy is key and truly the first among equals. Tactically speaking, AI always boils down to data. Every instantiation of deep learning has been ridiculously data hungry. Even LLMs, which are trained on most of the internet, are data starved. Whether you're a leading tech company or the government, the success of AI modernization depends on building and maintaining data supremacy. The tech giants, Google, Meta, Amazon, and others, all maintain their algorithmic leads versus competitors through runaway data advantages. Especially for defense AI applications, the internet is simply not enough. To make AI useful, we need AI-ready data that is expert data, that is labeled, tagged, annotated, and models that are fine-tuned on the government's unique data. Even the most advanced commercially built models will only be as useful as the data they're trained on. This is especially true for the most critical US government workflows for which there's no open source data. That's where Scale comes in. Our mission is to help achieve US data supremacy. We have powered nearly every major breakthrough in the field of AI since our founding in 2016. Our autonomy data engine powered breakthroughs in fully autonomous driving, such as L4 autonomous vehicles in San Francisco and Phoenix. We have powered major AI programs within the US DoD, more on that later, and we partnered with OpenAI in the first experiments of reinforcement learning with human feedback, which ultimately led to the development of ChatGPT. And today, we power the data pillar for every leading AI model in the commercial sector. And Scale's partnered with the DoD and national security stakeholders to integrate our best-in-class commercial technology into programs that directly impact our national defense, including some of the largest computer vision programs in the government. The Army and DIU selected our public sector data engine to support the Army Robotic Combat Vehicle program. This data engine supports the autonomy program and can power any Army autonomous system to enable a new generation of ground vehicles. This critical work has the potential to define the future of our military's work for ground, air, and sea and space autonomy. Last year, we introduced Donovan, our AI platform that allows government to use the leading generative AI technologies securely with their own data. It was the first LLM deployed on DoD classified networks. Donovan operational users across the government have found ways to increase their tempo and reduce their reporting overhead requirements from hours to minutes. And that's just the beginning for Donovan. Teaser, we'll have more on that later. And this year, the DoD's Chief Digital and Artificial Intelligence Office, or CDAO, selected Scale to create a comprehensive AI test and evaluation framework for the responsible use of LLMs within the DoD. The government has no shortage of data. The problem is that most of it is wasted. There aren't reliable figures publicly available, but in 2017, the Air Force's ISR-PED's daily activities generated roughly 22 terabytes of data, which is just one organization within the DoD. If you project that forward to today and expand and include the whole DoD, the amount of data generated daily by the DoD is probably close to 1 petabyte a day. And to do that, you need a data engine to transform raw data into AI-ready data, so mission-critical insights can be derived. Without AI to maintain pace, the NGA director estimated that we would need over 8 million imagery analysts by 2027 to process all available imagery data. AI is the only viable solution for the DoD to have any chance by taking advantage of all this data to incorporate into its daily battle rhythm. It's important to understand that China recognizes the value of AI-ready data and benchmarks their data investments based on US commercial industry. US commercial companies are each investing north of $1 billion a year, and we expect the total commercial investment to exceed $10 billion a year. By contrast, this year, the DoD is planning to spend roughly $3 billion on AI overall, and is planning to spend no more than $100 million on AI data. Whereas in the same time frame, China is spending at least $1 billion on AI-ready data. Unless we prioritize investment both in AI systems and the underlying data to power it, we risk falling behind China and doing too little too late. To put things in perspective, the US government has vastly more data than has been used to train GPT-4 or any leading large language model. GPT-4's training dataset was about 1 petabyte, actually a little bit less. But the DoD generates roughly 360 petabytes of data every year. And all that data is more relevant to military challenges than anything you will find on the internet. To make use of this trove of military data, we need a data engine. And that is foundational to everything we'll need to do in the United States. Our data engine powers the most advanced computer vision and generative AI models. We do this through world-class RLHF, human generation, and model evaluation. And that data foundry provides the most advanced and exquisite frontier data to make all of this possible. We need to effectively take all of the US government data, process it through a data engine to be able to train unique and exquisite AI models on top of all this data to power cutting-edge capabilities. Looking ahead, we are on the cusp of a paradigm shift in AI. Capabilities like chat and retrieval models like RAG that were transformative last year are table stakes today. What does that mean? Most AI models can only perform relatively simple tasks. You ask them a question, and they give you an answer. But even that's been tremendously beneficial. However, the most useful cognitive work that humans do is far more complex and involves multiple steps in carrying out actions. And doing this with AI is where the most transformative impact potential of AI truly is. Since we rolled out Donovan last year, government agencies have been adopting it at record pace. And our team has been hard at work building more sophisticated capabilities that will position in the US to maintain our edge. These include advanced retrieval augmented generation, a growing list of data source integrations, and expanding our list of supported state-of-the-art models and infrastructure. The crown jewel of this achievement is Donovan's increasingly sophisticated native agent workflows. I'm excited to introduce to you today Agent Donovan, the next evolution of our platform that features increasingly complex native agent workflows that are tailored for defense and national security. Agent Donovan will be your partner and your force multiplier. Let's check it out.
Over the past year, our platform for mission-critical AI, Donovan, has been a game changer for public sector organizations. Today, we're thrilled to introduce the next evolution of Donovan, Agent Donovan. Agent Donovan brings new capabilities around reasoning and tool use, going beyond summarization and chat. This supercharges Donovan with the skill sets of experts from data science, cybersecurity, and geospatial analysis. Imagine you're a military analyst who needs to know quickly where Iranian munitions struck Israel in April. Here, we'll select the dataset from our list of connected APIs and uploaded documents. Let's ask Donovan to show reports of Iranian munition strikes. Once we enter a prompt, Donovan moves beyond chat and kicks off an agentic workflow that connects to data sources, identifies critical information, runs code, corrects code execution errors, and validates sources. Donovan does this using fine-tuned models trained in Scale Data Engine. It enhances these models with RAG and other tools, allowing Donovan to pick the right data for the job. In this example, Donovan selects a data analysis tool to sort through our data source and decide which information to include. Donovan executes a Python script in a secure sandbox to identify relevant events filtered by specified parameters like time range and location metadata. In less than 1 minute, we have a sourced list of geoconfirmed reports of missiles fired on Israel. We can geolocate these citations on a map in order to analyze patterns in the impact zone. Now, let's go directly to the source where we can observe evidence of active missiles in the area and watch the Iron Dome in action. Finally, we can leverage these insights in order to generate an ISR request for further intel. Insights uncovered with Donovan workflows can be seamlessly incorporated into a report generation template, tying together important information in a fraction of the time it would take otherwise, all while following your agency's format and style guide. Scale Data Engine and fine-tuned models specifically tailored to these workflows make this possible. If we can do this in just 1 minute with off-the-shelf information, imagine what you can do with your own data today. Donovan is ready to be deployed in secure, classified environments for your team. The possibilities are limitless.
Everything you just saw is made possible by Scale's data engine. Exquisite data underpins the most advanced AI technological capabilities. This is what all of the leading commercial frontier model developers have relied on for significant gains in performance, advanced capabilities, and safety evaluations. The most exquisite, high-end expert datasets, frontier data as we call it, are ultimately what enables to apply reasoning and decision chains from the military experts to pressing national security challenges. Scale's data layer is a core component of our evaluation capability as well. Especially for the government, we must understand the strengths and limitations of AI systems, and the test and evaluation process should align the testing rigor with the risk level of each use case. Lastly, Scale's research lab SEAL, our safety, evaluation, and alignment lab, has already been a leader in developing authoritative, reliable evaluation sets. As we continue to support foundation model developers in their journey to develop performant and responsible AI, we're now bringing that same technical expertise to the public sector, so models can be deployed with the same level of rigor as our commercial partners. Our partnership with the CDAO to develop an LLM test and evaluation framework is a great step forward to ensure the adoption of safe, secure, and trustworthy AI. The rapid pace of change is the most exciting thing in AI, particularly the development of force multipliers like Agent Donovan. China's AI capabilities are catching up quickly, and if you plot the path forward, they have a clear shot of being ahead. If they continue to take data seriously and we don't, China will win. But if we can harness the true power of the US government, of US industry, and the US innovative system, there's simply no stronger force on the planet. These issues demand our attention and our collaborative efforts, and they demand them now. We cannot wait until there's a crisis to take data supremacy seriously. American AI leadership depends on it. The free world must prevail. Thank you.